Hello all, welcome to our webinar session on strategic workforce planning, aligning skills with organization demands. Quite an interesting topic. We all know that the performance management cycle is actually on the way, and in next couple of months we'll have to rate people at the top level. We'll have to give promotions, and during that point of time, we will clearly know that whom to promote. Do we actually promote internally, or do we have to take talent from outside? And that's the time where we will identify, do we really have a skill gap within our workforce? So this is quite an interesting topic, and at the right time we are having this. To discuss this, we have three industry experts along with us. We have Mr. Amit Karandika, the HR head of NetFM. We have Ms. Sukanya Patwardhan, the L&D head of Global J Global. We have Mr. Parag Elavanka, OVE India, and Managing Director of OVE India. And my name is Subburathinam. I'm the Chief Strategy Officer for TeamLease Services, and I'll be the moderator. Before we get on to the topic discussion, I would request each of our panelists to just give a quick, maybe a minute of introduction. Then we'll just straight away get on to the topic. Yeah. So, Ms. Sukanya, maybe we'll start with you.
Okay. I lead the L&D division globally of Jade Global Software Limited. This is a Silicon Valley-based company. Headquartered in San Jose, and we are an IT services company working in the cutting edge technologies and with the marquee customers like Meta, Dropbox, Uber, all those kinds of people. We have 2 delivery centers here in India, and we are spread across globally. My background is, before coming to this company, I was studying in Cambridge. That was my dream. And before that, I have worked with Tata Group Leadership Development Center for 6 years. And 10 years with IBM in leadership roles. I'm based in Pune.
Thank you, Mr. Sukanya. Great knowing you. Yeah, Mr. Parag.
Yeah, good morning, all. Myself, Parag Elavanka, and I am Managing Director of the Danish MNC OVE in India, and Founder Director of this company. And I have established this subsidiary in India in 2021. And I have around 33 years of industrial experience in various industries like forging, steel, energy, automation, and instrumentation. And now I am representing this company in India and neighboring countries.
Thank you, Mr. Parag. Great knowing you as well. Mr. Amit.
Hi, good morning, Subbu. Hi, everyone. My name is Amit Karandikar. I work for a company called NetFM Irrigation India Private Limited. So we are a fully owned subsidiary of NetFM, which is an precision agriculture business of Orbia. Orbia is again a global conglomerate based, having its office in Mexico and registered office in Mexico and corporate office in Boston, USA. So it's about 12 billion plus group, 25,000 employees globally, out of which I take care of employees at India, which are about 1,200 to 1,500, depending on the season, because we are into an agriculture business. So our employment varies from 1,200 to 1,500 a year. So that's my current role as a head of people function in India. And I also am part of India management team, which guides and directs the India operations. So that's my current role, and have about, with this company, I'm there for last 8+ years now. And total 30+ years of experience all through in human resource function and industries like petrochemicals, textiles and garments, market research, IT product companies, specialty chemicals, and now agriculture. So though in HR, but whenever I change jobs, I go to a different sector. So that's what, I love learning and, experimenting, because people are common everywhere. The challenges are different, but people remains common. So that's what I love doing all these years. So that's my short introduction. Thank you.
Great. Thanks, Mr. Amit. In fact, all the rich experience that we have here is going to be much fruitful for this conversation. Thank you, everyone. I think with this, we will actually get on to the conversation part. I think while I outlined the topic in terms of the strategic workforce planning, aligning skills with respect to the organizational demand, I think I was talking about, we are in the right time of the cycle, which is the performance management cycle, which is about to come in. Now, all of us will go through this particular challenge. Well, what to do with this? Are we actually trying to find okay, is there a skill gap, or is it actually a people issue? If it is actually, what all the steps that we can actually take measures for it? So now, before we get on to the specific discussion, I just want to have an open question. Do we all agree that there is a skill gap with our people, which is actually impacting the organizational goals? Maybe Ms. Sukanya, I'll start with you. Your views on that.
I would say the answer is really yes, and it has always been there. It's not just now, but if you even look at 100 years ago, when the industrialization really came into place, even then the skill gaps were there. So skill gap is something we have to accept. It will be there, and due to the rapidly evolving technology in each sector, speed of light expectations from everyone, and lack of understanding of what might come next adds to this whole understanding of the skill gaps. So I would say that yes, it is there and it will be there.
Oh, great. The changing expectations and the speed of expectations. Oh, amazing. I
Speed
think
of
that is actually
light
clearly
expectations.
articulating the skill gap. Yeah, Mr. Parag, your views on that? Coming
Yeah,
for the business.
definitely. The answer is, but obvious it is yes, because this gap is observed at each and every level in the organization, in the industry and institutes, and this gives the opportunity for an individual to learn and to bridge the gap and develop ourselves. And it always helps that if person is developing himself, then it helps organizations also to grow. So it's a good opportunity actually whenever we identify the gap in the workforce, and also we acknowledge that its impact, then also it becomes very helpful to bridge the gap, to give some kind of training and do regular assessments and reviews. So definitely yes, answer to this.
Great, great. I think as a business leader and leading an organization, I'm sure your views are very, very important. The trainings and assessments will actually help us to improve the skill gap and understand the skill gap. Yeah. Thanks for it, Parag. I think great views. Anyhow, we are going to deep dwell into the topic much more into it. Before we go to the next topic, maybe we'll take the views from Mr. Amit.
Yeah, thanks, Subbu. In fact, when I was reflecting your question and when I heard Sukanya, in fact, she articulated so well. I was just thinking, like, I was imagining if discussion was happening 100 years back. I think we were talking the same thing because, and the reason being, imagine the complexity is now increased. See, who is supplying this skill? The human being, which takes time even to take birth 9 months and then get ready for 18 years, and the person becomes ready to productive. And then even if someone wants to reskill, it takes a couple of years to get into reskill. Against this reference, we are into a time where technology is changing, needs are changing, problems are changing, and that pace anyway we are not going to meet. Even if I don't know. These 9 months anyways cannot be shortened in the foreseeable future, and the 18 years also cannot be shortened. So I think this is a universal question which was there 100 years back also, will be there 100 years later also. So whatever we can do in between, to reduce the delta is something what challenge and opportunities we are talking about. That's what my thoughts are.
No, that's your well said, Amit. In fact, the technology changing part, we are witnessing it in front of our eyes. In fact, somebody who has worked in a role like an accountant or even for a sales guy, they can't say that, okay, technology is actually not my baby. It's like it's now embedded into everything. Anybody into finance, it's completely tech has actually taken over. Anybody into sales, the pipeline management tool, the CRM tool, everything you are supposed to get used to it. So it's well said. I think the technology changing is actually impacting this particular one. And when I have to articulate all the three together, the changing expectations is making important. The training and assessments will understand to identify, and the technological changes is actually bringing the need for skill gap analysis and moving to the next stage.
It has accelerated the pace of these changes actually. Super accelerated pace.
Yeah. No. So great. I think it's good to start with actually the foundation is clear for all of us, and there are certain points at which we'll have to actually come to a next movement onto it. Okay, great. So now my next question, I have it in a kind of an interesting format. I will just share my screen. There is a pictorial form. Instead of actually asking a direct question, I thought, okay, let me show it in a pictorial form and then take cues from there. Just a second, I'm just sharing it. So this question is to Mr. Ahmed. Uh, so you're able to see the picture over here.
Yes.
So,
Interesting.
yeah.
Interesting.
So in fact, I would actually, before picking it up with Amit, maybe I'll actually take some inputs from Sukanya onto this, because today at this point of time we see moonlighting as a concept which is actually evolving. Okay, and it's this word itself is actually maybe used in the last 3-4 years, maybe, or I can actually say whether it is actually a bad word or a good word. I don't want to get into that particular comment, but with the more of freelancers and free agents coming in, Sukanya, and coming from a L&D background. What are your views into it? Specifically in the IT sector, this is actually coming up more. Nobody want to get committed to any specific organization. And do you find this as a reason for a skill gap, or do you find that, okay, this is a kind of a way the trending is actually happening? People are getting upskilled themselves so that they are actually getting ready for the next roles. Maybe your views, and then I'll get on to the next one.
Right. This reminds me of a book which created waves. It's written by Kevin Mitchell, a Harvard scientist. And the name of the book is Free Agents, How Evolution Gave Us Free Will. That is his book. And the research, he has proved that we are not mere machines responding to physical forces, but agents acting with purpose. Life evolved the power to choose and why it matters. Right? And that's a terrific research which says that neuroscientifically, human beings, their first innate desire is free will, swatantrata, right? And now technology has enabled it. So I would look at it very positive, because whether you like it, you don't like it, it's going to happen. And it is happening. And more so, we have seen this during the remote times. When Corona came in, everybody was stressed out. Each CEO, Parag would know it better,
Yes.
has spent sleepless nights, but we sailed through it, and we sailed through it beautifully, even the manufacturing sector, right?
Very right.
So it is, therefore, I would say that it is a challenge for those organizations who are stuck in the traditional models of work, where they expect that people should come to work, they should be there from 9 to 5, there is loyalty, they should spend minimum 5 years here, etc., etc. It is a big challenge for those mindset organizations. But it is actually an advantage for those organizations who are choosing to adapt, who are ready to understand the neuroscience behind the free will and the drive of humans. They would find the ways to incorporate new ways of working. Another practical thing about is that the Generation Z, the young generation, are smart people, and they want all in one. They want to live their personal life, they want to pursue their hobbies, they want to do something good, they want to eat junk food, whatever, all at once. Because you would see there are a lot of reels happening. I retired at 29 and I am retiring at 40 and I'm going to live my life the way I want. So smart organizations can incorporate everything. How does it matter if the person doesn't come to the workstation, actual workplace, and gives you results sitting at one, wherever that person? There, places like Thailand and all those places are like digital nomadic places. The visa is given to digital nomads on arrival. So we have to be mindful of this. But there are other things which also the organizations would have to consider. That is the legal implications. Because if people are working for 3 organizations, and if they are divulging the data, if they are supporting something which is unethical, the organizations will have to face that and make rules around that. And more than that, give that deeper understanding to people that life is more than just making money. So I would very strongly say that it is not, a doomsday. It is going to happen. There is another angle to this. It's not just about the Generation Z, but also the senior citizens. 60 is new 30 now. That's where people are discovering their life. All of us are at that phase. And we are realizing that, well, I have so many skills, but I want to also do painting. I want to sing, I want to do classes, I want to look after my grandchildren, etc., etc. And I also want to work because I have the skill. And organizations are taking the advantage of this. For example, organizations like RBI have an alumni association, and they pick on the wisdom of people who have retired from RBI. Isn't that fantastic? So free agents has nothing to do with the age of people. It is to do with the innate desire to have my free will. I'm clear
That's
about
well said. Yeah, well said, Ms. Sukanya. In fact, the age is not the criteria for this. Is like very interesting because there are statistics which shows that more than about 60% of our population are less than 35 years of age in our country. Now, having said that, okay, what's actually changing? We are actually finding this as an upcoming new trend because there are a lot of people who are expressing interest towards it, and there is even from employers' perspective as well, there is a lot of acceptance coming towards this particular point. As you rightly pointed out, I think this is actually something which both organizations as well as the person will get benefited because of the skilling part. Because the organization no need to actually straight away get onto the existing person and what skill set they have. Instead of actually they are actually also open to such things. So very interesting. Now, with this point, I actually want to take question to Amit because there are 2 points here. One, we have actually seen that okay, fine, age is not the one, the criteria, and this is actually coming from the freelancing part, moonlighting part. Now, I just want to pick up insights from Amit coming from the agriculture, irrigation, other background towards that, and with the rich 30 years of experience that he has got on towards the HR part. I just want to understand, maybe here also I will actually share my screen and take his views. Yeah. So, Amit, I'm sure in this last 30 years, you would have seen people and throughout your journey, how things are actually changing. Now, Ms. Sukanya said that, okay, fine, age is not the number. So now, however, in a normal work with the workforce that what we have multi-generation workforce. Somebody who is like more than about 40 years, there is about a 20% of population is more than 50 years. And if you actually include 40 and above, it's more than about 35% that is contributing an average age group. With this, what kind of a acceptance mode that is actually there with the multi-generation? So how do we have to deal with it? And when we actually talk about some skill gap, etc., what are your views into it, Amit?
Absolutely. Thanks, Subbu. In fact, when I was listening to Sukanya, she made a very excellent point regarding free agents as a acting with purpose. And in fact, if you see my background, it talks about my company's EVP. That is, where purpose comes to life. So, of course, it's a subject very close to my heart. I will not get into that. But what I'm trying to reflect here is let us understand, and my reference and the response is coming primarily from my experience in working in manufacturing per se. Of course, out of 35 years work with IT also, but primarily manufacturing and multi-generation workforce. When I say multi-generation workforce in manufacturing, you have the GETs joining who are right from the college, the management trainees, engineering trainees, and you have someone who is about to retire. So that's the range we are dealing with, So 25, 35, 45, 55, are the brackets we are dealing. Now that's one reference point. And this has again a close connection with the loyalty. See, when we talk of loyalty, now if I am an organization as an HR, if I represent organization and someone on the other side is an employee, what I am expecting a lifetime loyalty. You work with me throughout my life. And but what my appointment letter says, 3 months notice period. So I am bound only for 3 months. Okay. An employee, he says, okay, then I need to be ready for myself. No, the world is changing so fast. You would one day tell me, thank you very much. These are the 3 months money and please go ahead. So what do I do? So here I'm coming to the question of multi-skilling, reskilling, and of course with our own people, because on one side when our loyalty definition is 3 months, for the employee. From employee side, we expect a lifetime of loyalty. It doesn't work because we can very well say now there is a cost cutting problems, this, that, and we will say, thank you very much. We can give him a nice bouquet and tell him, please go ahead. What he will do, he needs to keep on reskilling himself, and that too with different generations. And as Sukanya said, 60 is new 30. Like, I mean, I put it differently, you know, like I am like 27 with 25 years of experience. That's the way people talk now. You know, people don't say I am 52. You know, they represent it differently because, and especially in our kind of industry, which is agriculture, we have 65 years of knowledge that works with us in the company. So, you know, and she gave example of RBI, very interesting, you know, the insights that these experienced people have in their mind of working with, you know, those manual things to now technology, it's amazing. So now it is our role that how do we plug them, how do we leverage them. Not the retirement is more psychological. I think engaging them in a different form is what our responsibility on the guys, those who are retiring, and we have plans for that. As a part of our people strategy, we have 3 pillars like well-being, fulfillment, and development. So this goes around, you know, fulfillment and development, where how do we leverage on from different multi generations that we have. So, and we have programs. I'll not get into those programs, but it is very important to capture that knowledge. Those who are, you know, into their late 50s, 60s, put that knowledge into a thing which the young generation can, you know, accelerate on. So that's the kind of role I think, you know, is more expected from people function, from LNOD, and that's what we are, you know, engaged in the conversations. And the management also says the same thing, you know, knowledge with all AI technology available, you can't replace it with the insights that the individuals have got over the years, is what, you know, my view is on this.
No, thank you, Amit. I think it's you're actually given great insights on dealing with multi-generational part, because one, the 60s new 30, something is very, very interesting element, and if everybody starts looking into it, it actually they will extract the best. I've seen the some of the news that there are organizations who are actually not happy when they actually have their workforce like touching 40 and above. In fact, with a lot of MNCs and a lot of organizations restricting, my workforce, age limit is this. So they actually restrict themselves to one specific part of it. But whereas you are given a kind of a solution in terms of how do you actually get the best out of the experienced people, and how do you make it as a kind of a framework, and how it can be passed on to the youngsters, and how the technology can be woven together, and how things can be actually mixed. So it's a great insight, and I think this one will actually help to fix a lot of skill gaps that is actually arising somewhere or the other, because the one who's experienced will be able to give solution for challenging situation. I think experience part well articulated, Amit. Okay. So now with this, I have a very interesting question to our business leader, Parag. I'm just sharing the screen. Yeah. So Parag, being a business leader, I think this is a very simple and effective slide.
Yes.
There is a skill gap for people to actually progress. And because of which we need end of the day, we all of us are actually working towards the organizational goal, and we have certain business results to be achieved. Now, from your experience leading the organization and with whatever the people challenges that you have seen and how it is actually impacting business, we want to pick up your experience and ideas in terms of, how has it been? How it is actually having an impact towards the business results?
Sure, thank you. It's the screen itself gives idea about, what are the gaps and how the gaps are, bridged, and what are the people inside the organization who helps to bridge the gap for the new workforce as well as the existing workforce.
In fact, coincidentally, Parag, whatever that you said, the talent assessment, the knowledge, actually that is what is bridging here. That's what it is actually showcasing it.
Exactly.
But we want to pick up your thoughts from it.
Yeah, sure. The first thing which comes to my mind is when it comes to the business perspective and bridging the gaps as far as the existing workforce and the new workforce is concerned, is the digital literacy and the technological skills. So any organization, if somebody is new joining or existing joinees who has already completed a good amount of time in the organization, still we have to see the demand of the time, and digital literacy and technological skills are very, very important when it comes to the skill gap. And we find a lot of gaps and lacks in the digital tools and data analysis and emerging technologies. So to find out the business impact on this, we will have to see there are challenges in the industry to remain competitive. So those are related to the digital literacy, and it is very crucial from the efficiency point of view in any organization, and also from the making organizations innovative, because innovation is the demand, it's need of the organizations. If you're not innovative, then you are thrown out of the competition. So that is something very important, which I would like to start with. And then it comes to the soft skills. Soft skills, when we have to talk, the first thing comes is communication and collaborations. Okay, communication is very, very important in all areas of the organization, right from starting from the sales, marketing, and logistics, production, procurement, and all such departments when we talk. So its impact is also very important. When you talk about the impact of soft skills, then it is effective teamwork also is very important. When we have to see there is a lack of communication, there is a lack of collaboration within the organization and outside the organizations. So, and it also directly impacts with the relationship with the clients, which are heart of any organization. So many of the people, they call clients, they are God. The customer is God for us, because actually the salaries are not paid by the organization, but the salaries are paid by the customers. So we keep on telling to the people, so how to deal with the customer, how to communicate with the customer, in which manner, at what promptness level that one should communicate with the customer. That is the soft skill which comes into picture. Then it is adaptability. So adaptability to the change in any organization, adaptability is very important. Suppose if we bring a new technology, if we bring some new person, okay, so getting adapted with the new person, getting adapted with the new technology that we are putting in to remain competitive is also very important. And if somebody is lacking, then we need to educate them, give training them, give mentoring to them to overcome this particular issue. Then another most important thing comes to my mind when it comes to the business impact is data analysis and decision making. Data analysis nowadays is very important for decision making, and in current generation, I find there is a big gap which needs to be bridged. Data analysis and decision making. Unless you gather, unless you monitor what is happening, unless you gather data and analyze the data, you cannot take any decision. Okay, and decisions on time are very, very important in any organization. To overcome the existing problem and also to grow the organization. So as per my view, data analysis and decision making is very, very important for any organizations, and we need to have a program on data analysis and to avoid its impact, because decision making is directly related to this. Another thing which is an important topic which I would like to bring here is leadership and management skills. Currently, the managers also, they need to look at the workforce where there are gaps and how to educate them in soft skills and hard skills. In any organization, how to mentor them and bring to the level of which helps organization to grow. And finally, global and cultural awareness. That is also I would like to bring here. If any multinational organization or expanding organizations beyond the countries, here the cultural awareness is also important when we talk about the MNC's culture. So yeah, these are some points which I would like to bring to the dais.
Thank you so much, Parag. In fact, I was expecting maybe 2 or 3 points, but you have actually spoken about 8 to 9 points, which are actually so in-depth and detailed nature. The digital literacy part is very, very important, as you rightly touched upon it. In fact, the digital literacy has now touched it to the ground level. For example, even if you go to a retail store where they actually have the people at the junior most level, they deal with the CRM. They deal with the billing software. I think I was giving example of the account and others. Now there are a lot of financial tools which are actually in place which can give you the result immediately. And as you also pointed out, the data analysis part, you have so much of data in front of you, and without analyzing the data appropriately, it will not be, you will not be able to make a decision. And all these things are associated, because somebody will have a digital part as actually a skill gap, somebody will have a decision making as a kind of a skill gap. In fact, you actually touched upon topics on like hard skills, soft skills in a very structured way. Well, I have some interesting question to you on that. Before coming to you again, Parag, I'll just take it up with Amit. Amit, I think now we have listened to what Parag said from the business leader perspective, what kind of changes that he has seen and what is impacting the business goal. Now, picking up your HR brain of it, I just want to understand, is there a, if there is a defined career path for people, do you think people will upskill themselves? The skill gap is actually, will that be, does people actually take efforts to actually get into that? I just want, we just want to have your opinion on that, because it has a direct impact to the business results. When people grow in the organization passionately, the
Yeah.
business actually grows.
True, true. No, absolutely. No, see now when it comes to, and in fact, Parag has really gave the whole, gamut of expectations, skills which business expects, for from employees. And when we say expectation from employees, the onus comes on HR, or within HR LNOD functions. So probably me and Sukanya are on the other side of the table, where Parag is our customer and like we need to deliver. That's the way it works. It's an internal customer for us. Yeah. So, but let us imagine, like, why this has happened. Like the generation which is into their 40s and 50s, let us talk about them first. When they were in the market, I think there were hardly any choices. They did what their parents told them to do, what was available, the very standard brackets of, medicine, engineering, science, and, few other options like, you have financial analyst, costing, etc., etc. Now, as someone worked over the years in those functions, and then you will agree that, the first job you get is what you get, you don't have a choice. And then you are lucky if you get to do what you love. Otherwise, you keep finding what you love and you keep finding it and keep doing something you don't love. I mean, it's a very paradoxical situation to be in. And I'm happy to be in the situation where I keep doing what I love since my first job. But there are very few people who have those, opportunity. So as you progress, for example, take example of sales. You have done sales. While doing sales, you realize that, oh, I am very good at soft skill. But 30, 35, you keep on doing sales, keep on getting business every month. That's what keeps your monthly bill running, organization happy. But from within, you feel, okay, this is something now my left hand's job. But what excites me more is developing people, helping them, understanding their problems, helping them understand the market. Now, if you are at this juncture, as an organization, we need to give you an option. Okay, look, you are doing great in sales, you've shown an inclination towards diversification, towards the training. So I need to show you those options. You need to tell us that option, and that's where the systems comes in place. You spoke about performance appraisal. In performance appraisal, we have those options, the potential appraisal, what you want to do in 3 to 5 years. But unfortunately, very few organizations get into those conversations seriously. When I say organization, the managers, I mean, organization is what? Group of managers and employees. So we just make a tick mark, we write some very random and fancy answers to those questions of 3 to 5 years. But if we just do it little, a focused way, we will be able to help people. And I'm saying the related, I say the backward forward kind of integration of those careers. Like, sales guys can get into the technical training, into the, other, your product understanding, product requirement, gap between those who are manufacturing and those who are, delivering. So I'm saying like that, we do have those career paths for, mid-career options. Like when you get into that 40s, that each of 40, many people get. So you need to take care of that. If you don't take care, they will either leave you or they'll find out what they are good at. So we have those career paths for salespeople, for technical, someone from manufacturing, have done, because that's what my more experience is. After doing manufacturing, they feel, what is the next? I mean, every day coming to the office, working at those, high decibel levels, dispatching things, what next? So next is, something into quality, something into R&D, something into, where you go and where products are more technical, you go on the client facing side. So we have those kind of career paths made, and that's where people feel more excited, people feel more, and it's a two-way responsibility. I mean, organization can provide platform on one side, that's organizational responsibility. Employee needs to speak out, and speak out, like if I say something today, may not happen today. I need to have that patience. So that's on 40-50. Parag spoke about, regarding the decision making as a skill. I was just reflecting on that. Let's look at our young generation which is coming. What is their decision reference? Their decision reference is Google. They are always given an option and then they choose. Like, for example, people on this call, we are at a generation where we were told to think ourselves, work on options, and then give suggestion.
Absolutely.
This our generation is not tuned like that. They look at Google, they look at, even they want to have food, they will have 5 options. And then they will say, okay, I'll choose. Their challenge is in choosing and not generating options. But the business expect it the other way around. Business expect you to think and give options and then choose also. I'm saying it's something very interesting. I mean, we can't blame young generation. We need to help them, because their references are different. It's not that they are dumb. They are smarter than us probably, but we have not trained them taking decisions, and decision making is a habit. One of my early bosses told me that, Amit, decision making is a habit. Cultivate it, take it. Even if it fails, don't worry. I mean, when people will evaluate, you will not be there. So don't worry about it, but take a decision. That is something I think, some random thoughts on what Parag said and what you talk about skill, 40s, 50s and career paths. So, but it's very interesting, gamut, I would say.
Yeah.
Thank you, Amit. I think,
Well said, Amit.
yeah, you gave us a lot of insights. Yeah, Parag, so do you want to just have any comments on him?
Very well said.
Yeah.
All of us have these Google generation children.
Yeah.
So we know what it means, right? At home and also at office.
Yeah.
So we are really, the current generation should learn, the analyzing the things, that is where the coaching, mentoring and training is required. Because a lot of things can come out with analysis, decision making, monitoring the historical trend, and then acting on it, making corrective actions and making plans to mitigate the risk. And so all things are important, and current generation should get training, awareness, and mentoring on this. As because we have gathered in our generation, we have gathered through our experiences. We have burned our fingers and then we learn. Okay. So that is the point which I would like to make for the current generation. And
In
they
fact,
should
Subbu, sorry, Parag.
yeah, and they are fortunate that there are people who are available to share the experiences and mentoring them.
Absolutely. On the lighter side, I would say anybody from the younger generation listening to this would say exactly the same thing for our generation.
Absolutely. Yeah, we will be unfair to them if we don't talk about it. Yeah.
And this has been the timeless battle between two generations since ever.
Yeah.
Right?
And in fact, what Parag said, I was just putting it into a spectrum like data, analysis, then you have interpretation, inference, and insights. I think if we put at these words, it again represents different age groups, where you are on the spectrum of 50 plus, you get more into interpretation and insights. And where you're on, because we have been through those ages, like, so you are more into data analysis, and we stop there. We then don't worry about, inference, interpretation, insights. But somewhere, if we can make a handshake of these two, different spectrums, I think it is wonderful. And that's what I think AI is doing. We talk a lot about AI. That's what AI does at one shot. You have data, analysis, inferences, interpretations, and insights, which I think, that's where we need to keep working on and bridging that gap within the generations that can probably help us. That's the way it looks like.
No, well said, Amit. And I think well supported with articulate statements from Sukanya and Parag. In fact, I could correlate a meme that was floating around when you said that AI. So somebody typing in ChatGPT and asking for, okay, what should I do after 3 years? So people go and ask all these things, like how you said, okay, it's a Google generation children, like how young generation, Google search generation. So the moment you have such things, people don't even want to get into the other side, like how Amit articulated it. They just want to understand from somebody that, okay, fine, what option that I have. They don't want to explore options. Okay, fine. Among the options that I will actually select. No, well said. I think that is actually kind of getting into the mindset of the people, which is actually getting onto the career plans. There are certain set of people who are like defined, oh, I should do this, I should get into this. To get into this, what should I do? What should I upskill? What should I do? So there are a certain set of people, and there are certain set of people who requires, and that's where the skill gap actually comes. And some of these things will help to fix it up. Okay, great. So now taking cue from your statement, Amit, my question to Sukanya is, uh, okay, there's a lot of buzzword about reskilling because overall today, if you actually look into it, the moment you speak about skill gap, there are two words which are actually the buzzwords: upskilling, reskilling. So now we have spoken a lot about upskilling, where the gap is and what we'll have to do and how a career path actually can get in. Before we get on to the last topic, maybe your insights on reskilling, Sukanya, because coming from a pure L&D background, you would have trained so many people, and you have trained so many workforce in multi years, so many years that you have actually crossed. Now, how do you see this word reskilling?
I actually like the word that it is reskilling. Okay. So it doesn't talk about, erasing your previous skills. It talks about building on what you already know, right? Say, for example, a doctor will continue to be a doctor. You cannot make the doctor into a musician suddenly. That's not what reskilling is about. It is about creating the T-shaped individuals where you have your original field of expertise and you are broadening everything else around it and also going deeper and deeper into your own skill. So today what we want is T-shaped individuals. And recently I came across a session where they have created an AI-based tool to understand what is your T-shaped score, which is great. It is a must for the organization, and it has always been a must for the organization. In my entire career of 30 years, I have seen the hypes. There was a hype about Kaizen, about TQM, about Six Sigma, about this and that and that. Now the AI is a hype. So these kinds of waves will be there and we will have to ride it, right? But we also have to understand what Parag has said, Amit has said, that this is a Google generation. Google is God, right? So employees are smart as they are enabled by the technology and have the information all the time, right? It just keeps coming to them and makes them live with huge anxiety, right? Mera kya hoga kalia, kind of, right? Which our generation has seen days where you felt secure, you felt safe. All those things are now not as what we experience. So we have to look at that from their point of view. They make choices based on their priorities and they know that they have to reskill. And even before the organization embarks into reskilling, they would have made those decisions. They would have enrolled in courses because if you see in Coursera, Udemy, LinkedIn Learning, EDX, look at how much investment people are doing on their own, right? Because they know it. And it's not just the young generation. That's very important. 40% of people are also who have crossed their youth because they feel that they want to reskill themselves. But what is important is the organization creating these avenues and giving work opportunities to the reskilled people. Because I reskill myself, and if I don't have any opportunity, it's either you use it or you lose it. So if you can't have those opportunities, the people cannot stay with that organization. They are going to be going somewhere else in whatever manner. And if there are no opportunities in the organization has to be fair in outplacing people. That's also important responsibility of the organization because there is a win-win in that. However, the skill of being human, ability to have deep conversations with customers, peers, competitors, effectively collaborating, putting oneself in other person's shoes are timeless and are becoming supremely important. And I think Parag has already said it so well. People love to create better versions of themselves and feel worthy, right? Organizations need to focus on this aspect of helping people discover their ikigai. What am I meant for? What is my sense of purpose, right? And try and align it into your organizational ethos. It is not about what exactly you do in your job. And Amit gave the example, somebody or you spoke about it. Then an accountant is great, but he wants to solve people's problems. Is there an avenue for that? Maybe there is a counseling group in the organization. Come, volunteer. I would like to give uh, uh, one example. All of us know Johnny Lever. Johnny Lever used to work in Hindustan Lever, and he had this ability to mimic people, and people used to love it. And his boss, and he was a worker, simple worker, once saw him mimicking all the actors and anybody and everybody. And he said, Johnny, what do you want to do in life? He said, this is what I like doing. But kya karu boss, main job kaise chodu? He said, I'm going to give you a job. You're going to be in the canteen through the day. Okay. And in particular hours, you are going to host your shows there for people. People will get entertained and you will also do. So it was initially just for 2 hours. Then it extended to 4 hours. It extended to 6 hours. He was so good. People used to flock around him. And eventually he said, I'm starting on my own. And therefore he answered Johnny Lever. That levers gave him the career, right? Another example. Now, what do you think about this reskilling? Isn't it fantastic? It created such a huge industry of comedy stand-up shows. And now you see how many people are doing it voluntarily without leaving their jobs. Another example is this Generation Z. Once I was invited to speak in a forum, there were a lot of young people, and I made a statement that organizations where there are young people will host parties, have drinks, have dance. Maybe maximum they may have some sale for some, gadgets and things like that. But here are people who want to work with snakes, who want to work with old people, who want to go to orphanages, who want to explore nature, who want to do really good to the society, and there are no avenues for that. You won't believe, people stood up, clapped, they gave me standing ovation. All the young people, they said, this is what organizations don't understand. So we keep changing. Anyway, nothing changes. How does it matter? So it's a big opportunity for organizations. So in our organization, we run programs, and our first statement that this program will help you in your personal life and your profession. It will help you become a better individual, which you aspire to be, right? And there it is a pull factor for them. When people understand that I'm not being used and there is no cheating from the organization, they will understand what reskilling is all about and would want to volunteer for it, right? That's my take on that. And there is no other option. But doing it in a very human way is today's need.
No, absolutely great articulation, Mr. Kanya. Amit Parag, I think looks like, okay, you were about to comment something about it, or maybe any specific things from your end?
Yeah, quickly one. In fact, what Sukanya said, we being in manufacturing, because you need people in the shift and there is a structure to it, it works. So we also have fixed, in the context of volunteering. That's what, it relates to people. We give them compulsory 3 days in a year for volunteering. So 3 days translates into 24 hours, 24 to 30 hours, where you can do it. You are paid for those hours and you can do it outside of your work, of your choice, in community, which gives you a joy. Because see, at the end of the day, people do make those trade-offs. Like sometimes some jobs are really, really difficult. I mean, it's very difficult to stand on a shop floor where the 90 decibel is a noise level and there is a heat, but that's what you do for your earning. But then you love doing something, go to the school, help children learn many other things. So people, even if they do these for those 24 30 hours, they are so happy. They even go beyond, they do it on the weekends. And there, because we also have a system of registering your volunteering hours. So apart from those 3-4 days which we give, they also register more volunteering hours. And they say, okay, I mean, we do it from our time. Okay, it is good, organization is giving from your time, we do it from our time. So that's where and the young generation, to be fair with them, they are that way very sorted out. They know exactly they what they want. They can tell you upfront. Like when we interview, I'm sure Sukanya and Parag would know, we talk about how do you think after 3 years, 5 years. These are the classical questions which ask. So one engineer told me, sir, I don't think beyond 3 years. I am an engineer now. I want to take 2 years of experience. I'll go for an higher study and then I'll decide what to do. My life is sorted out. I mean, don't think beyond 3 years. Now, had I been in those 20 years back generation when I used to be, I would say, no, there is no long-term stability to this person. I will not go for this and that. But then I had that conversation with my manufacturing and I said, this guy is damn honest. He's saying, I am here for 2 years with you. Do whatever you want and then give me experience. I said, let's go for him, and then we go for higher study. We are okay. He's very clear rather than somebody making some fancy stories about 3-5 years and then doing nothing. I think that's what we need to give credit to this generation. They are very clear. They have a lot of, as Sukanya said, they are bombarded with information. And that's what increases their anxiety level. And we need to help them rest those anxieties, anchor them with some thoughts, work on that. That's what our role is. I mean, we are responsible for what they are. I mean, they have not come from directly from the sky. No, we are the ones who have, helped them grow whatever they are. So I think that's our responsibility and that's how we look at it. I mean, very, very interesting, dimension to this. Yeah.
Thank you for complimenting Amit. Parag, your views?
Yeah, I would like to share one classic example. The real example happened within our organization. Recently, I interviewed with one of the person who was supposed to join us for as a position of senior technician. Okay, so he came to me and I started interviewing him. And as Amit said, and Sabanya also said, there is an anxiety level and fear factor is there in the people at each level. I mean, right from the technician, the middle level manager, senior level management. So just to give you an example, that person just sat in front of me and I just told that feel free, talk anything, ask anything and tell about yourself. Okay. So at the end of the interview, I find that there was a lot of fear factor and anxiety, and some kind of instability I found in his nature. Okay, so looking at this 3 point, but the person was in need of a job, and he was not much educated, some ITL and diploma level pass of person. I just told him, based on my experiences, which you all may agree or may not agree. I told him one thing. Look, I'm interested in you. I will hire you within next 2 months, but you have to do one favor with me. You have to go back to the home and practice Vishnu Sahasranam and Ram Raksha, and come after 1 month and just tell me you utter this Vishnu Sahasranam and Ram Raksha in front of me, and if I find you you have done it completely with all things are covered, then immediately I will hire you. Why I said? Because looking at his instability and unstable mind and anxiety, I found that such thing will improve his peace of mind, improve his concentration. Okay, the person was good, but I wanted him to improve on these aspects like concentration and making mind stable. Right. I also told him to do some the Omkar chanting, Om chanting, and the pranayam and all such things. So there are employees and people in the society who has such kind of factor, but they come out of this. But somebody is required to make them aware about their limitations and what are the solutions to overcome that.
Absolutely. Can't agree more with this, because currently, if you see, there is this guy who, I don't know his name, he's running his channels with the name of Beer Biceps. And he is all about good living, healthy living, spirituality, and is interviewing different people who are into the spiritual field, and he has really revolved kind of around these things, and the fan following he has in the young generation is amazing, right? In our organization also, when we run these breathing techniques, relaxations, that's a program which is sought after the most, because there is a deep need, and organizations have to now cut off their thinking. What was it like? Like I have come across people who ask me for my advice that, I want to give my GRE, I want to do this. What should I do? And the first thing I tell them that you please go and do your aptitude test and then choose a course, right? And then seriously prepare for the GRE and then go ahead. I know that after 2 years, the person is going to leave, but it's okay. The person is becoming your ambassador after leaving, right? And that's a big thing in today's reskilling part. It's not just your technical skills, it's everywhere. And Parag, it's commendable that you're talking this language even to an interviewee and giving them the hope and faith. That's awesome.
Yeah, that was really, really awesome because you are adding value to somebody's life, and you are also indicating that, okay, what is expected out of you and what you'll have to overcome in an indirect manner. Maybe I'm sure that person has been
Yeah,
actually now with
because we cannot hire a person who has unstable mind. It will lead to accident in organization.
Yeah.
It is dangerous for him as well as the organization.
Yeah.
So yeah, there are people in society, they want to secure a job, they want to do good things, they want to grow. But as far as possible, we should support them. Come out of the such kind of dilemmas and such situations, and grow in their personal life as well as help organizations.
Yeah. In fact, Parag, you have actually answered my next question well here itself. So whatever that you had, okay, I was actually taking cue from Ms. Sukanya's statement, how the hard skills and soft skills. I think you gave a literal example for us to actually understand, okay, what the skill gap that you found with the other person and what was resulting because of which and how is going to impact him and how you have actually overcome it. Yeah, I think it was a great insight, Parag. Maybe I'll just touch upon the reskilling part and this particular one in a common note. Maybe it can be a closing statement. So what I can actually see from all your explanation with respect to the reskilling and changing element is somebody who's actually taken up a profile professionally, but his passions are towards something else. That person has more tendency towards reskill to groom up his passion. Somewhere or the other, this is actually coming in because, for example, as you rightly said, doctor, musician, you can't pick up a musician when you're in the middle. But a doctor, definitely, if in your internal mind, if your aspiration, passion is toward music, one fine day it will definitely come out. And that can actually become your reskilling, which is not known to many. So, like the way how you articulated the John Lever story, Sukanya, I can actually see this as a reference from Steve Jobs' Connected Dots chapter, connecting the dots. So, when he said that, okay, when I was a college dropout and I do not know what to do, so he practiced calligraphy. But when he started the Apple as an organization, the first thing that he was focusing was on calligraphy. That, okay, this font style has to be unique. That has to. So in life, he calls it as how the dots connected. So I think that will actually happen for everyone if we understand what is our passion and then what we move. Because usually, when you are in a passionated role, I think never you will have the skill gap because you will automatically upskill yourself and be employable or maybe earn money through your skills. So I think it's a very interesting topic. I think we had a great session now, collaborating with all of you, and all your insights were really helpful. I'm sure the audience will find it interesting. Thank you so much for participation. Thank you, Ms. Sukanya. Thank you, Parag, and thank you, Amit. It was great having you. I wish we will have one more session in the future, all of us together.
Sure.
Sure. Thank you for the
Thanks,
opportunity.
Subbu.
We enjoyed.
Thanks.